Imagine standing at the edge of a cliff, looking back at the path you've taken. You see the moments you hesitated, the choices you wish you could undo, and the opportunities you let slip away. Regret weighs heavy on your shoulders, like a shadow you can't shake. But what if I told you that this shadow doesn't have to follow you forever? What if there was a way to turn regret into a stepping stone, not a stumbling block? This is where Stoicism comes in. Stoicism isn't just an ancient philosophy, it's a practical toolkit for life. It teaches us how to navigate the storms of regret, not by avoiding them, but by facing them head-on. The Stoics believed that regret, like all emotions, is a teacher. It shows us where we've gone wrong, but it doesn't have to define where we're going. In this video, we'll explore 25 Stoic practices designed to help you overcome regret and live a more fulfilling life. These aren't just abstract ideas, they're actionable steps you can start using today. From learning to focus on what you can control to embracing the impermanence of life, each practice is a building block for resilience and peace of mind. So, if you've ever felt stuck in the past, if you've ever wished you could rewrite a chapter of your life, this video is for you. By the end, you'll have a roadmap to transform regret into growth, and you'll see how the wisdom of Stoicism can guide you toward a brighter, more intentional future. Let's begin. Now, let's dive into the first Stoic practice, focusing on what you can control. At the heart of Stoicism lies a powerful idea called the dichotomy of control. This principle teaches us that some things are within our power while others are not. Regret often creeps in when we waste energy worrying about things we can't change, like past mistakes, other people's opinions, or unexpected events. But the Stoics remind us that true peace comes from directing our attention to what we can influence, our thoughts, actions, and attitudes. Think about it this way: you can't control the weather, but you can control how you prepare for it. You can't change what someone said to you yesterday, but you can choose how you respond today. By shifting your focus to what's within your control, you take back your power. This doesn't mean ignoring the world around you. It means recognizing where your energy is best spent. For example, let's say you regret missing a deadline at work. Instead of dwelling on the missed opportunity, focus on what you can do now. Maybe it's improving your time management, setting clearer priorities, or communicating more effectively with your team. These are actionable steps that move you forward rather than keeping you stuck in the past. The beauty of this practice is that it's not just about reducing regret, it's about building resilience. When you train yourself to focus on what you can control, you become less reactive to life's ups and downs. You start to see challenges as opportunities to grow rather than reasons to feel defeated. So the next time regret tries to pull you back, ask yourself, what's within my control right now? Whether it's your mindset, your effort, or your next decision, that's where your power lies. And that's where your path to growth begins. With this foundation in place, let's move to the next practice, embracing the present moment. Because when we learn to live fully in the now, regret loses its grip on us. Now, let's turn our attention to the second Stoic practice, embracing the present moment. One of the most profound lessons Stoicism offers is the importance of living fully in the now. Regret often stems from being stuck in the past, replaying mistakes, missed opportunities, or things we wish we had done differently. But the Stoics remind us that the past is gone and the future is uncertain. The only moment we truly have is this one, right here, right now. Living in the present doesn't mean ignoring the lessons of the past or neglecting to plan for the future. It means not letting those things consume us. When we anchor ourselves in the present, we free ourselves from the weight of regret and anxiety. Think of it like this: you can't change what happened yesterday, and you can't predict what will happen tomorrow. But you can choose how you engage with this moment. So how can you practice this? Start with mindfulness. Take a few minutes each day to simply breathe and observe your surroundings. Notice the sensations in your body, the sounds around you, and the thoughts passing through your mind. This isn't about clearing your mind completely. It's about being aware of where you are and what you're experiencing without judgment. Another powerful tool is journaling. At the end of each day, write down 3 things you noticed or appreciated in the present moment. Maybe it was the warmth of the sun on your skin, a meaningful conversation, or even the taste of your morning coffee. This practice helps train your mind to focus on the here and now, rather than getting lost in what's already happened or what might come next. The Stoics also encourage us to find joy in the ordinary. Life isn't just about the big milestones or achievements. It's about the small, everyday moments that often go unnoticed. When you learn to appreciate these moments, regret loses its power over you. You'll begin to see that life is happening right now, not in some distant past or future. By embracing the present, you're not just reducing regret, you're cultivating a deeper sense of peace and fulfillment. You're learning to live fully, one moment at a time, and as you do, you'll find that the past no longer holds you back and the future feels less daunting. With this practice in mind, let's move forward to the next Stoic principle, reflecting on the impermanence of life. Because when we understand the fleeting nature of our time, we gain a new perspective on what truly matters. Now, let's explore the third Stoic practice, reflecting on the impermanence of life, often referred to as Memento Mori. This Latin phrase translates to "remember that you must die," and while it might sound somber at first, it's actually a powerful tool for gaining clarity and perspective. The Stoics believed that by regularly reminding ourselves of our mortality, we can strip away the distractions of life and focus on what truly matters. When we reflect on the fact that our time is limited, it becomes easier to let go of trivial regrets, those small, insignificant things that often consume our thoughts. Have you ever found yourself dwelling on a minor mistake, like saying the wrong thing in a conversation or missing a deadline? These moments can feel overwhelming in the moment, but when viewed through the lens of Memento Mori, they lose their weight. The Stoics teach us that life is too short to waste on things that don't truly matter. This practice isn't about dwelling on death in a morbid way. Instead, it's about using the awareness of life's impermanence as a motivator. When we remember that our time is finite, we're more likely to prioritize our values, relationships, and goals. It helps us ask ourselves, if today were my last day, would I be proud of how I spent it? This question can be a powerful guide, helping us align our actions with what we truly care about. So, how can you incorporate Memento Mori into your daily life? One simple way is to set aside a few moments each day to reflect on your mortality. This could be during your morning routine or before bed. Think about the legacy you want to leave behind and the kind of person you want to be. This reflection doesn't have to be lengthy, just enough to remind you of what's truly important. Another approach is to use physical reminders. The Stoics often kept symbols of mortality, like a skull or an hourglass, as a way to stay grounded in this practice. You don't need anything dramatic. It could be as simple as a note on your mirror or a daily reminder on your phone. The goal is to keep the concept of impermanence present in your mind so it shapes your decisions and actions. By embracing Memento Mori, you'll find that many of the regrets you carry start to fade. You'll begin to see that life's true value lies in the moments you spend with loved ones, the kindness you show to others, and the growth you achieve as a person. Regret over small, fleeting things no longer holds the same power when you're focused on living a meaningful life. This practice also helps us appreciate the present moment even more. When we recognize that life is fleeting, we're more likely to savor the experiences we have rather than taking them for granted. It's a reminder to live fully, love deeply, and let go of what doesn't serve us. As we move forward, let's carry this perspective with us. Reflecting on the impermanence of life isn't just about overcoming regret. It's about embracing the beauty and urgency of the time we have. And with this mindset, we're ready to explore the next Stoic practice, practicing negative visualization. a technique that helps us prepare for life's uncertainties and build resilience. Now let's turn our attention to the fourth Stoic practice, negative visualization. This might sound counterintuitive at first. Why would imagining the worst-case scenarios be helpful? But the Stoics believed that by mentally preparing for life's uncertainties, we can build resilience and reduce the sting of regret when things don't go as planned. Negative visualization is about envisioning potential challenges or losses before they happen. It's not about dwelling on fear or pessimism, but rather about cultivating a sense of readiness and gratitude. When we imagine what could go wrong, we're better equipped to handle it if it does. More importantly, this practice helps us appreciate what we have right now because we realize how easily it could be taken away. For example, take a moment to think about your relationships. What if you were to lose someone you love? It's a difficult thought, but by reflecting on it, you might find yourself more present and appreciative in your interactions with them. You're less likely to take those moments for granted when you've considered how precious they are. This practice can also be applied to your career or personal goals. Imagine failing at a project or losing a job. While it's uncomfortable to think about, doing so can help you prepare emotionally and practically. You might identify steps to mitigate risks or develop a backup plan. And if the worst does happen, you'll be less overwhelmed because you've already mentally rehearsed how to respond. So, how can you start practicing negative visualization in your daily life? One way is to set aside a few minutes each day to reflect on what you value most: your health, your relationships, your career, and imagine what life would be like without them. This isn't meant to make you anxious, but to help you appreciate what you have and prepare for potential challenges. Another approach is to use this practice before making big decisions. For instance, if you're considering a career change, imagine the worst-case scenario. What if it doesn't work out? What steps could you take to recover? By thinking through these possibilities, you'll feel more confident in your decision, knowing you've prepared for the risks. Negative visualization also helps us let go of regret over unexpected outcomes. When we've already considered the possibility of failure or loss, we're less likely to be caught off guard. Instead of dwelling on what went wrong, we can focus on what we can do next. This mindset shift allows us to move forward with clarity and purpose. By incorporating this practice into your life, you'll find that you're not only better prepared for challenges, but also more grateful for the present moment. It's a powerful way to build resilience and reduce the weight of regret. As we continue, we'll explore how accepting the past as unchangeable can further help us overcome regret and focus on growth. This next practice builds on the foundation we've laid, offering even more tools to live a fulfilling and regret-free life. Now, let's shift our focus to the fifth Stoic practice, accepting the past as unchangeable. This principle is rooted in the Stoic understanding that the past is fixed, it's already happened, and no amount of regret or wishful thinking can alter it. Dwelling on what's behind us only drains our energy and keeps us stuck in a cycle of frustration. Instead, Stoicism teaches us to accept the past as it is and channel our efforts into what we can control, the present moment and our future actions. Think of the past as a closed chapter in a book. You can't rewrite it, but you can choose how to respond to it. This doesn't mean ignoring the lessons it offers, but rather acknowledging that the past is unchangeable and focusing on how you can grow from it. For example, if you've made a mistake at work or in a relationship, instead of replaying it in your mind, ask yourself, what can I learn from this experience? How can I use this lesson to make better choices moving forward? One powerful strategy for accepting the past is to practice self-compassion. Often, regret stems from harsh self-judgment. We beat ourselves up for not being perfect. But the Stoics remind us that everyone makes mistakes. What matters is how we respond to them. Treat yourself with the same kindness you'd offer a friend who's struggling. Acknowledge your humanity, forgive yourself, and commit to doing better next time. Another approach is to reframe your perspective on past events. Instead of seeing them as failures, view them as stepping stones. Every mistake, every setback is an opportunity to learn and grow. For instance, if you regret a missed opportunity, consider how it might have shaped your current path. Perhaps it led you to discover a new passion or develop skills you wouldn't have otherwise. By shifting your focus from what went wrong to what you gained, you can transform regret into gratitude. Journaling can also be a helpful tool for processing the past. Take some time to write about your regrets, but don't stop there. Reflect on what you've learned and how you've grown since then. This practice helps you see the past as a teacher rather than a tormentor. It also allows you to release lingering emotions and make peace with what's already happened. Finally, remember that the present moment is where your power lies. The past may shape you, but it doesn't define you. Every day is a new opportunity to make choices aligned with your values and goals. By focusing on what you can do today, you'll find that the weight of past regrets begins to lift. As we move forward, we'll explore how cultivating gratitude can further help us overcome regret and shift our focus to the good in our lives. This next practice builds on the idea of acceptance, offering another tool to help you live with greater peace and purpose. Now, let's turn our attention to the sixth Stoic practice, cultivating gratitude. Gratitude is a powerful antidote to regret, as it shifts our focus from what we lack or what went wrong to what we already have and what's going right in our lives. When we practice gratitude, we train our minds to notice the good, even in challenging circumstances, and this perspective can help us let go of lingering regrets. The Stoics believed that gratitude is not just a feeling but a deliberate practice. It's about actively recognizing the value in our experiences, relationships, and even the small, everyday moments that often go unnoticed. By doing so, we create a mental habit of appreciation that counterbalances the weight of regret. For example, instead of dwelling on a missed opportunity, you might reflect on the skills you gained while pursuing it or the support you received from others along the way. One simple yet effective way to cultivate gratitude is through daily journaling. Each day, take a few minutes to write down 3 things you're thankful for. These don't have to be grand or life-changing. They can be as simple as a warm cup of coffee, a kind word from a friend, or the beauty of a sunset. The act of writing helps solidify these positive thoughts in your mind, making it easier to return to them when regret tries to creep in. Another approach is to practice gratitude in the moment. When something good happens, pause and take a mental note of it. Acknowledge the effort, luck, or kindness that made it possible. This habit not only deepens your appreciation but also helps you build a reservoir of positive memories to draw from when you're feeling stuck in regret. Gratitude also has a way of putting things into perspective. When we focus on what we're thankful for, we're reminded that life is a mix of ups and downs and that even the difficult moments have value. For instance, a past failure might have taught you resilience or led you to a new opportunity you wouldn't have discovered otherwise. By reframing regret through the lens of gratitude, you can transform it into a source of strength rather than a burden. Finally, gratitude connects us to the present moment, which is where Stoicism teaches us to live. When we're fully engaged in appreciating what's here and now, we're less likely to dwell on the past or worry about the future. This doesn't mean ignoring challenges or pretending everything is perfect, but rather choosing to see the good alongside the difficult. As we continue, we'll explore how learning from mistakes can further help us overcome regret and turn setbacks into stepping stones for growth. This next practice builds on the foundation of gratitude, offering another way to move forward with clarity and purpose. Now, let's shift our focus to the 7th Stoic practice, learning from mistakes. The Stoics saw mistakes not as failures but as invaluable opportunities for growth. Instead of allowing regret to weigh us down, they encouraged us to examine our past actions with a clear, objective mind, extracting lessons that can guide us toward better decisions in the future. One of the key Stoic teachings is to separate the action from the person. This means understanding that making a mistake doesn't define who you are, it's simply an event that happened. For example, if you missed an important deadline at work, instead of labeling yourself as careless or incompetent, focus on what led to the oversight. Was it poor time management, a lack of communication? By identifying the root cause, you can address the issue directly and avoid repeating it. Another Stoic technique is to approach mistakes with curiosity rather than judgment. Imagine you're a scientist studying an experiment that didn't go as planned. What can you learn from the results? How can you adjust your approach next time? This mindset shifts the focus from self-criticism to problem-solving, turning regret into a tool for improvement. Let's take a practical example. Suppose you said something in a conversation that unintentionally hurt someone's feelings. Instead of dwelling on guilt, ask yourself, what triggered my response? How can I communicate more thoughtfully in the future? By reflecting on these questions, you not only grow emotionally but also strengthen your relationships. The Stoics also emphasized the importance of humility in learning from mistakes. Recognizing that we're all imperfect allows us to approach our errors with grace and openness. It's not about being flawless, it's about being willing to grow. As Marcus Aurelius once wrote, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. In other words, the obstacles we face, including our mistakes, are the very things that propel us forward. To put this into practice, consider keeping a reflection journal. At the end of each day, write down one mistake you made and what you learned from it. This simple habit helps you process regrets constructively and reinforces the idea that every misstep is a stepping stone to wisdom. As we move forward, we'll explore how practicing self-compassion can further help us navigate regret with kindness and resilience. This next practice builds on the idea of learning from mistakes, offering a way to heal and grow without harsh self-judgment. Now, let's turn our attention to the eighth Stoic practice, practicing self-compassion. While learning from mistakes is crucial, it's equally important to approach ourselves with kindness and understanding. The Stoics believed that regret, when handled with self-compassion, can become a powerful catalyst for growth rather than a source of endless self-criticism. Self-compassion begins with recognizing that everyone makes mistakes. It's an inherent part of being human. The Stoics taught that we should extend the same empathy to ourselves that we would offer to a close friend. Imagine a friend coming to you after making a mistake. Would you berate them, or would you offer support and encouragement? Treating ourselves with that same gentleness allows us to process regret without being consumed by it. One Stoic-inspired technique for cultivating self-compassion is to reframe your inner dialogue. Instead of saying, "I can't believe I did that," try, "I made a mistake and that's okay." What can I learn from this? This shift in language helps you move from judgment to understanding, creating space for growth rather than guilt. Another powerful practice is to remind yourself of your shared humanity. The Stoics often reflected on the idea that no one is perfect and everyone faces challenges. When you feel regret weighing heavily on your mind, take a moment to acknowledge that you're not alone in your struggles. This perspective can soften the sting of regret and help you approach your mistakes with greater humility and grace. A practical way to practice self-compassion is through daily affirmations or journaling. Write down a few kind words to yourself, such as, "I am doing my best and that is enough," or "I forgive myself for my mistakes and choose to grow from them." These small acts of self-kindness can gradually reshape how you view yourself and your experiences. The Stoics also emphasized the importance of self-acceptance. This doesn't mean ignoring your flaws or mistakes, but rather accepting them as part of your journey. As Epictetus once said, "No great thing is created suddenly." Growth takes time, and self-acceptance allows you to embrace the process without rushing or forcing it. To put this into action, consider setting aside a few minutes each day for self-reflection. Ask yourself, how can I be kinder to myself today? Or, what would self-compassion look like in this situation? these questions can guide you toward a more forgiving and nurturing relationship with yourself. As we continue, we'll explore how letting go of perfectionism can further free us from the grip of regret. This next practice builds on the foundation of self-compassion, offering a way to embrace imperfection and find value in the effort rather than the outcome. Now let's shift our focus to the ninth Stoic practice, letting go of perfectionism. The pursuit of perfection is a common trap that many of us fall into, often leading to frustration, disappointment, and regret. The Stoics understood that striving for flawlessness is not only unrealistic but also counterproductive. Instead, they encouraged embracing imperfection and finding value in the effort itself, rather than fixating on the outcome. Perfectionism can create a cycle of regret because it sets impossibly high standards. When we inevitably fall short, we berate ourselves for not meeting those expectations. The Stoics remind us that life is inherently imperfect, and so are we. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this and you will find strength. This wisdom invites us to focus on what we can control, our effort and attitude, rather than obsessing over results that may be beyond our influence. One way to let go of perfectionism is to reframe how we define success. Instead of measuring success by whether we achieve a perfect outcome, we can measure it by the sincerity of our effort and the lessons we learn along the way. For example, if you're working on a project, focus on the process, what you're learning, how you're growing, and the skills you're developing, rather than fixating on whether the final product is flawless. The Stoics also taught that imperfection is a natural part of growth. Epictetus said, "No great thing is created suddenly." This reminds us that progress is gradual and often messy. When we accept this, we can approach our goals with patience and self-compassion, knowing that mistakes and setbacks are not failures but stepping stones on the path to improvement. Another Stoic-inspired technique is to practice gratitude for imperfection. Reflect on the idea that even the most accomplished individuals have flaws and have faced challenges. Their achievements didn't come from being perfect but from persevering despite their imperfections. By embracing this mindset, we can reduce the pressure we place on ourselves and find joy in the journey rather than the destination. To put this into action, try setting realistic goals and celebrating small wins. Instead of aiming for perfection, aim for progress. At the end of each day, take a moment to acknowledge what you've accomplished, no matter how small. This practice helps shift your focus from what's lacking to what's growing, fostering a sense of fulfillment and reducing regret. As we move forward, we'll explore how focusing on virtue over outcomes can further free us from the weight of regret. This next practice builds on the idea of letting go of perfectionism, offering a way to align our actions with what truly matters. Now, let's turn our attention to the 10th Stoic practice, focusing on virtue over outcomes. This principle is a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy and offers a powerful way to free ourselves from the grip of regret. The Stoics believed that true fulfillment comes not from external achievements, but from living in alignment with virtue qualities like wisdom, courage, justice, and self-discipline. When we prioritize these virtues, we shift our focus from what we can't control, like the results of our efforts, to what we can control, our intentions and actions. This mindset is especially helpful when dealing with unmet goals or unexpected outcomes. Often, regret arises when we tie our self-worth to specific achievements, like landing a dream job, reaching a financial milestone, or receiving recognition from others. But the Stoics remind us that these outcomes are not entirely within our power. What we can control, however, is how we approach our goals with integrity, effort, and a commitment to doing what's right. For example, imagine you've worked hard on a project but it doesn't turn out as planned. Instead of dwelling on the disappointment, you can reflect on whether you acted with honesty, diligence, and fairness throughout the process. If the answer is yes, then you've already succeeded in the Stoic sense, regardless of the outcome. This perspective helps us detach from the need for external validation and find peace in knowing we've done our best. Marcus Aurelius often emphasized this idea in his writings. He said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one." This simple yet profound statement encourages us to focus on embodying virtue in our daily lives rather than obsessing over whether we've achieved certain results. By doing so, we reduce the likelihood of regret because we're no longer measuring our worth by external standards. Another way to apply this practice is to set intentions based on virtue rather than outcomes. For instance, instead of aiming to win a competition, aim to compete with fairness and sportsmanship. Instead of striving to impress others, strive to act with authenticity and kindness. When we align our goals with virtuous principles, we create a sense of inner stability that isn't easily shaken by external circumstances. The Stoics also taught that focusing on virtue helps us navigate failure with resilience. When we fall short of a goal, we can ask ourselves, did I act with integrity? Did I learn something valuable? If the answer is yes, then the experience wasn't a failure but an opportunity for growth. This reframing allows us to move forward without lingering regret, knowing that we've stayed true to our values. As we continue, we'll explore how reframing regret as feedback can further empower us to learn from our experiences and grow. This next practice builds on the idea of focusing on virtue, offering a practical way to transform regret into a tool for self-improvement. Now, let's explore the 11th Stoic practice, reframing regret as feedback. This powerful approach transforms regret from a source of pain into a tool for growth and self-improvement. Instead of seeing regret as a burden, the Stoics encourage us to view it as valuable information, a signal that helps us reflect, learn, and make better choices moving forward. Think of regret as a teacher rather than an enemy. When we experience regret, it often points to a gap between our actions and our values. For example, if you regret not speaking up in a meeting, it might reveal a desire to be more assertive or confident. Instead of beating yourself up, you can use this insight to prepare for future situations, perhaps by practicing how to express your ideas more clearly or setting an intention to contribute more actively next time. Another way to reframe regret is to ask yourself, what can I learn from this experience? Let's say you regret missing an important deadline. Instead of dwelling on the mistake, reflect on what went wrong. Was it poor time management, a lack of prioritization? Once you identify the root cause, you can take steps to improve, like creating a more structured schedule or breaking tasks into smaller, manageable steps. This turns regret into a catalyst for positive change. The Stoics also remind us that regret often stems from unrealistic expectations or a lack of foresight. For instance, if you regret overspending on a purchase, it might highlight a need to align your spending habits with your long-term financial goals. By reframing this regret as feedback, you can create a budget, track your expenses, and make more mindful decisions in the future. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This idea perfectly captures the Stoic approach to regret. Instead of seeing obstacles or mistakes as failures, we can view them as opportunities to grow stronger and wiser. Every regret holds a lesson, and by embracing these lessons, we can move forward with greater clarity and purpose. To apply this practice in your own life, try journaling about a recent regret. Write down what happened, how you felt, and what you've learned from the experience. Then identify one actionable step you can take to avoid repeating the same mistake. This simple exercise helps you process regret constructively and turn it into a stepping stone for personal growth. As we continue, we'll delve into the 12th Stoic practice, embracing voluntary discomfort. This next step builds on the idea of learning from regret, showing how intentionally facing challenges can strengthen our resilience and prepare us for life's uncertainties. Now, let's shift our focus to the 12th Stoic practice, embracing voluntary discomfort. This principle might sound counterintuitive at first, but it's a powerful way to build resilience and reduce regret over missed opportunities. The Stoics believed that by intentionally exposing ourselves to small, manageable challenges, we can strengthen our ability to handle life's inevitable hardships with grace and composure. Think of voluntary discomfort as a form of mental and emotional training. Just as athletes push their physical limits to improve performance, we can train our minds by stepping outside our comfort zones. For example, something as simple as taking a cold shower or skipping a meal for a day can teach us to endure discomfort without complaint. These small acts of discipline help us develop a mindset that's less attached to comfort and more adaptable to change. When we practice voluntary discomfort, we also reduce the fear of missing out or regretting opportunities. Often, regret stems from avoiding challenges because they seem too difficult or uncomfortable. But when we regularly face discomfort on our own terms, we become more confident in our ability to handle whatever life throws at us. This confidence allows us to take risks and seize opportunities without being paralyzed by fear of failure or regret. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself that discomfort is a natural part of life. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." By embracing discomfort voluntarily, we reclaim control over our reactions and build the inner strength needed to navigate life's uncertainties. To start incorporating this practice into your life, consider setting small, intentional challenges. For instance, try fasting for a day to practice self-control, or take a cold shower to build mental toughness. You could also challenge yourself to spend a day without technology, allowing yourself to sit with boredom and reflect. These exercises might feel uncomfortable at first, but over time, they'll help you develop resilience and a deeper sense of inner peace. As we move forward, we'll explore the 13th Stoic practice, developing emotional resilience. This next step builds on the foundation of voluntary discomfort, showing how we can cultivate a calm and steady mind even in the face of life's toughest challenges. Building on the foundation of voluntary discomfort, let's now turn our attention to the 13th Stoic practice, developing emotional resilience. This practice is all about mastering your emotions so that regret doesn't overwhelm you. The Stoics believed that emotions themselves aren't the problem, it's how we interpret and react to them that can lead to unnecessary suffering. By learning to separate facts from our interpretations, we can respond to life's challenges with calm and clarity. Imagine this: you make a mistake at work and your first thought is, "I'm terrible at my job." That interpretation can spiral into regret, self-doubt, and even anxiety. But what if instead you paused and asked yourself, what actually happened? Did I make a mistake? Yes. Does that mean I'm terrible at my job? No. This simple act of separating the fact, the mistake from the interpretation, your self-judgment, can help you respond more rationally and reduce the emotional weight of regret. One powerful Stoic exercise for building emotional resilience is the view from above. This practice involves mentally stepping back from a situation and seeing it from a broader perspective. For example, if you're feeling regret over a missed opportunity, try imagining how that moment fits into the larger timeline of your life. Will it matter in a week, a month, or a year? Often, this shift in perspective helps you see that the regret you're feeling is temporary and manageable. Another technique is to practice labeling your emotions. When you feel regret creeping in, take a moment to name it. Say to yourself, "I'm feeling regret because I wish I had made a different choice." By labeling the emotion, you create a small distance between yourself and the feeling, which allows you to observe it without being consumed by it. This practice helps you respond with intention rather than reacting impulsively. The Stoics also emphasize the importance of focusing on what you can control. When regret arises, ask yourself, can I change what happened? If not, what can I do now to move forward? This shift in focus helps you channel your energy into productive actions rather than dwelling on the past. For instance, if you regret not speaking up in a meeting instead of ruminating, you can prepare for the next one and commit to sharing your thoughts. To put this into practice, try journaling about a recent regret. Write down the facts of what happened, your initial interpretations, and how you felt. Then challenge those interpretations by asking, is this thought true? Is there another way to look at this? This exercise helps you develop the habit of questioning your emotional responses and building a more resilient mindset. As we continue, we'll explore the 14th Stoic practice, limiting comparisons to others. This next step will show you how focusing on your own progress, rather than measuring yourself against others, can further reduce regret and foster a sense of inner peace. Now let's shift our focus to the 14th Stoic practice, limiting comparisons to others. This practice is crucial because comparing ourselves to others often leads to regret, frustration, and a sense of inadequacy. The Stoics understood that measuring our worth against someone else's achievements or circumstances is not only unproductive but also deeply unfair to ourselves. Instead, they encouraged us to focus on our own progress and growth, recognizing that true fulfillment comes from within. Think about it. When you compare your career, relationships, or even your personal goals to someone else's, what happens? You might feel a pang of regret, thinking, why haven't I achieved as much as they have? But here's the thing, everyone's journey is unique. What you see in others is often just a highlight reel, not the full story. The Stoics remind us that external benchmarks like wealth, status, or popularity are indifferent to our true happiness. What matters most is how we live in alignment with our values and virtues. One way to break free from the comparison trap is to practice self-reflection. Ask yourself, am I comparing my progress to someone else's? If so, why? Often, we compare ourselves to others because we're seeking validation or reassurance, but the Stoics teach us that validation should come from within. Instead of looking outward, focus on your own journey. Celebrate your small wins, no matter how insignificant they may seem. Did you make progress today, even if it was just a small step? That's worth acknowledging. Another Stoic technique is to remind yourself of the impermanence of external achievements. The person you're comparing yourself to today might face challenges tomorrow that you know nothing about. Life is unpredictable, and clinging to comparisons only distracts you from what you can control, your own actions and mindset. As Marcus Aurelius once wrote, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. To put this into practice, try setting personal goals that are meaningful to you, not influenced by what others are doing. For example, instead of aiming to earn as much as a colleague, focus on improving a skill that brings you joy or contributes to your long-term growth. When you catch yourself comparing, pause and redirect your thoughts. Ask, what can I do today to move closer to my own goals? This shift in focus helps you build a sense of purpose and reduces the regret that comes from feeling behind. By limiting comparisons to others, you free yourself from the unnecessary burden of regret and create space for genuine self-improvement. As we move forward, we'll explore the 15th Stoic practice, daily reflection. This next step will show you how taking time to review your day can help you stay aligned with your values and continue growing without the weight of regret. Now let's turn our attention to the 15th Stoic practice, daily reflection. This powerful habit, often referred to as an evening review, is a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy. It's a time to pause, look back on your day, and assess how well you've lived in alignment with your values. The Stoics believed that this practice not only helps you grow, but also prevents regret by allowing you to course correct and learn from your experiences. To begin, set aside a few quiet moments at the end of your day. This isn't about rushing through a checklist, it's about creating space for thoughtful self-examination. Start by asking yourself two key questions. What did I do well today? And where could I have done better? These questions aren't meant to judge or criticize, but to help you identify patterns and opportunities for growth. For example, maybe you handled a difficult conversation with patience, or perhaps you noticed that you reacted impulsively to a minor setback. Both observations are valuable. Next, reflect on your actions and decisions. Did you act with integrity? Were your choices aligned with your values? The Stoics emphasized the importance of living virtuously, so this step is about ensuring that your actions reflect your principles. If you find areas where you fell short, don't dwell on regret. Instead, think about how you can approach similar situations differently in the future. This is where growth happens. Another important aspect of daily reflection is acknowledging what's outside your control. Did you spend time worrying about things you couldn't change? If so, remind yourself of the Stoic principle of focusing only on what you can influence. This helps you let go of unnecessary stress and regret, freeing your mind to focus on what truly matters. To make this practice even more effective, consider keeping a journal. Writing down your reflections not only helps you process your thoughts, but also creates a record of your progress over time. You might start by jotting down 3 things you're proud of and 1 area for improvement. Over time, you'll notice patterns and gain deeper insights into your behavior and mindset. Finally, end your reflection with gratitude. The Stoics believe that gratitude is a powerful antidote to regret. Take a moment to appreciate the good in your day, no matter how small. Maybe it's a kind word from a friend, a moment of peace, or simply the fact that you're taking steps to grow. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's lacking to what's abundant, helping you cultivate a sense of contentment. By practicing daily reflection, you create a habit of self-awareness and continuous improvement. It's a way to live intentionally, ensuring that each day brings you closer to the person you aspire to be. As we move forward, we'll explore the 16th Stoic practice, embracing change as natural. This next step will show you how to adapt to life's uncertainties with grace and resilience. Now let's shift our focus to the 16th Stoic practice, embracing change as natural. The Stoics understood that change is an unavoidable part of life. From the seasons shifting to relationships evolving, nothing stays the same forever. Resisting this truth, they believed, only leads to frustration and regret. Instead, Stoicism teaches us to accept change as a fundamental aspect of existence and to adapt with grace and resilience. Think about it this way: when we cling too tightly to how things are or how we think they should be, we set ourselves up for disappointment. Life is unpredictable, and trying to control every outcome is not only exhausting but also futile. The Stoics encouraged us to see change not as a threat but as an opportunity for growth. By embracing the natural flow of life, we can reduce the regret that comes from fighting against it. One powerful strategy for adapting to change is to practice acceptance. This doesn't mean passively resigning yourself to whatever happens. Instead, it's about acknowledging reality as it is without resistance or denial. For example, if you lose a job or face a sudden shift in your plans, take a moment to accept the situation fully. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I move forward? This mindset shift allows you to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. Another key Stoic tool is to focus on what you can control. While you can't stop change from happening, you can control how you respond to it. This might mean adjusting your expectations, finding new ways to approach challenges, or simply choosing to see the silver lining in difficult situations. By directing your energy toward what's within your power, you regain a sense of agency even in the face of uncertainty. The Stoics also emphasized the importance of perspective. When change feels overwhelming, try zooming out to see the bigger picture. Ask yourself, will this matter in a week, a month, or a year? Often, what feels like a major upheaval in the moment becomes a small blip in the grand scheme of things. This broader view can help you stay grounded and reduce the emotional weight of regret. Finally, cultivate flexibility. Life rarely goes exactly as planned, and being rigid in your expectations can lead to unnecessary suffering. Instead, practice adapting to new circumstances with an open mind. Think of yourself as a tree bending in the wind rather than a rigid structure that might break under pressure. This flexibility not only helps you navigate change more effectively, but also fosters a sense of inner peace. By embracing change as natural, you align yourself with the Stoic principle of living in harmony with the world as it is. This practice not only reduces regret, but also empowers you to face life's uncertainties with courage and resilience. As we move forward, we'll explore the 17th Stoic practice, focusing on intentions, not outcomes. This next step will show you how to align your actions with your values regardless of the results. Now, let's turn our attention to the 17th Stoic practice, focusing on intentions, not outcomes. This principle is a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy, reminding us that while we can't always control the results of our actions, we can always control the intentions behind them. By aligning our decisions with virtuous intentions such as kindness, honesty, and courage, we can reduce regret even when things don't go as planned. Think about it this way: life is full of uncertainties. You might work tirelessly on a project only to see it fail, or you might pour your heart into a relationship only to face disappointment. In these moments, it's easy to feel regret, but the Stoics invite us to shift our focus from the outcome to the intention. Did you act with integrity? Did you do your best? If the answer is yes, then there's no reason to regret your actions regardless of the result. For example, imagine you're preparing for an important presentation. You spend weeks researching, practicing, and refining your material. But on the day of the presentation, technical issues disrupt your flow, and the audience doesn't respond as you'd hoped. If you focus solely on the outcome, you might feel regret or frustration. But if you focus on your intentions, your effort, your preparation, and your desire to share valuable insights, you can walk away with a sense of pride, knowing you did your best under the circumstances. Another way to apply this practice is to reflect on your daily decisions. Before making a choice, ask yourself, what is my intention here? Am I acting out of fear, pride, or selfishness, or am I guided by virtue? This simple question can help you stay aligned with your values and reduce the likelihood of future regret. For instance, if you're considering whether to speak up in a difficult conversation, focus on your intention to communicate honestly and respectfully, rather than worrying about how the other person might react. The Stoics also remind us that outcomes are often influenced by factors beyond our control. You can't dictate how others will respond or what external circumstances might arise. But you can always choose to act with good intentions. This mindset not only reduces regret but also fosters a sense of inner peace, knowing that you've done what's right regardless of the outcome. To put this into practice, try journaling about your intentions at the end of each day. Reflect on the decisions you made and whether they aligned with your values. Celebrate the moments when you acted with virtue and gently remind yourself of areas where you can improve. Over time, this habit will help you cultivate a stronger sense of purpose and reduce the weight of regret. By focusing on intentions rather than outcomes, you embrace the Stoic belief that living virtuously is its own reward. This practice empowers you to navigate life's uncertainties with confidence, knowing that your actions are rooted in integrity. As we move forward, we'll explore the 18th Stoic practice, detaching from external goods. This next step will show you how to find contentment within yourself, rather than relying on external achievements or possessions. Now, let's explore the 18th Stoic practice, detaching from external goods. This principle invites us to reconsider what truly brings happiness and fulfillment. The Stoics believed that external possessions, achievements, and even social status are indifferent to our inner peace. While these things can be nice to have, they are not essential for a meaningful life. True contentment, according to Stoicism, comes from within, from cultivating virtues like wisdom, courage, and self-discipline. Think about it this way: if your happiness depends on external factors like a promotion, a new car, or the approval of others, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. These things are fleeting and often outside your control. You might work hard for a promotion only to see it go to someone else, or you might buy a new car only to have it lose value over time. When these external goods are taken away or fail to meet your expectations, regret can easily creep in. But the Stoics remind us that our worth and happiness don't come from what we own or achieve, they come from how we live and the choices we make. So, how can you practice detachment from external goods? Start by shifting your focus inward. Instead of chasing material success or social validation, ask yourself, what kind of person do I want to be? What values do I want to live by? When you prioritize inner growth over external rewards, you free yourself from the constant cycle of desire and disappointment. For example, if you're passed over for a promotion, instead of dwelling on the missed opportunity, reflect on how you can continue to grow and contribute in your current role. This mindset helps you find contentment in the present moment, regardless of external circumstances. Another way to cultivate detachment is to practice gratitude for what you already have. Take a moment each day to appreciate the simple things, your health, your relationships, or even the beauty of nature. By focusing on what you have rather than what you lack, you train your mind to find joy in the present rather than longing for more. This doesn't mean you should stop striving for goals or improving your life. It simply means recognizing that your happiness doesn't depend on achieving those goals. The Stoics also encourage us to prepare for loss. This might sound pessimistic, but it's actually a powerful way to reduce regret. By mentally rehearsing the loss of external goods, whether it's a job, a possession, or even a relationship, you become less attached to them. This doesn't mean you stop caring or trying. It means you accept that these things are temporary and that your happiness doesn't depend on them. For instance, if you lose a prized possession, instead of feeling regret, you can remind yourself that it was never the source of your happiness in the first place. To put this into practice, try this simple exercise. Each day, identify one external good you're attached to, whether it's your phone, your job, or even your reputation. Then imagine what it would feel like to lose it. How would you cope? What would you still have? This exercise helps you build resilience and reminds you that your true worth lies within. By practicing detachment from external goods, you align yourself with the Stoic belief that inner contentment is the key to a fulfilling life. This mindset not only reduces regret over material losses, but also helps you navigate life's ups and downs with greater ease. As we move forward, we'll delve into the 19th Stoic practice, using journaling to process regret. This next step will show you how writing can be a powerful tool for self-reflection and emotional healing. Now, let's turn our attention to the 19th Stoic practice, using journaling to process regret. Journaling has long been a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy, offering a powerful way to reflect on our thoughts, emotions, and actions. It's not just about writing down what happened, it's about understanding why it happened and how we can grow from it. By putting pen to paper, we create a space to untangle our regrets, examine them objectively, and ultimately release their hold on us. So, how does journaling help with regret? When we write about our experiences, we're forced to slow down and think deeply. This process allows us to separate the facts from the emotions, which is a key Stoic principle. For example, instead of dwelling on the frustration of a missed opportunity, journaling helps us ask, what can I learn from this? How can I approach similar situations differently in the future? This shift in perspective transforms regret from a source of pain into a tool for growth. To get started with journaling, try these simple prompts. First, write about a recent regret. Describe what happened, how you felt, and why it still bothers you. Be honest and specific. This is your private space to express yourself without judgment. Next, ask yourself, what was within my control in this situation and what wasn't? This question helps you apply the Stoic dichotomy of control. focusing your energy on what you can change rather than what you can't. Finally, reflect on what you've learned. How has this experience shaped you? What steps can you take to avoid similar regrets in the future? Another effective journaling technique is to write a letter to yourself from the perspective of a Stoic mentor. Imagine what Marcus Aurelius or Epictetus might say to you about your regret. Would they remind you that external events are indifferent? Would they encourage you to focus on your virtues rather than outcomes? This exercise not only provides clarity but also helps you internalize Stoic wisdom in a personal and meaningful way. Journaling also allows us to track our progress over time. By revisiting past entries, we can see how far we've come and recognize patterns in our thoughts and behaviors. Maybe you'll notice that certain regrets stem from unrealistic expectations or a tendency to compare yourself to others. These insights can guide you in making better decisions and cultivating a more resilient mindset. One of the most powerful aspects of journaling is its ability to help us let go. When we write about our regrets, we're essentially giving them a voice. This act of expression can be incredibly freeing, as it allows us to release pent-up emotions and gain closure. Over time, you may find that the regrets you once carried so heavily no longer weigh you down. Instead, they become stepping stones on your journey toward greater self-awareness and inner peace. As we wrap up this practice, remember that journaling is a personal and flexible tool. There's no right or wrong way to do it. What matters is that you're honest with yourself and willing to reflect. By making journaling a regular habit, you'll not only process regret more effectively, but also deepen your understanding of Stoic principles. And with that, we're ready to explore the 20th Stoic practice, seeking wisdom from role models. This next step will show you how the lives of great Stoic thinkers can inspire and guide you in overcoming regret. Now, let's shift our focus to the 20th Stoic practice, seeking wisdom from role models. One of the most powerful ways to overcome regret is to learn from those who have walked the path before us. Stoic philosophy is rich with figures like Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca, whose lives and teachings offer timeless guidance for navigating life's challenges. By studying their words and actions, we can find inspiration, clarity, and practical strategies for dealing with regret. Marcus Aurelius, for example, was a Roman emperor who faced immense pressures and responsibilities. Yet his personal writings in Meditations reveal a man deeply committed to self-reflection and virtue. In one passage, he reminds himself, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this and you will find strength. This simple yet profound insight can help us reframe regret. Instead of lamenting what we cannot change, we can focus on cultivating inner resilience and aligning our actions with our values. Epictetus, another towering figure in Stoicism, was born into slavery but rose to become one of the most influential philosophers of his time. His teachings, compiled in the Discourses and the Enchiridion, emphasize the importance of distinguishing between what is within our control and what is not. He famously said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This perspective is invaluable when dealing with regret. By studying Epictetus, we learn to accept the past without letting it define us, focusing instead on how we can respond with wisdom and integrity. Seneca, a Stoic philosopher and statesman, offers another layer of insight. His letters, particularly letters from a Stoic, are filled with practical advice on managing emotions and finding peace amidst life's uncertainties. Seneca often wrote about the fleeting nature of time and the importance of living intentionally. He urged his readers to reflect on their actions daily, asking, "What have I done today that aligns with my values? What can I do better tomorrow?" This habit of reflection not only helps us process regret, but also empowers us to make more mindful choices moving forward. To begin incorporating this practice into your life, consider exploring these texts. Start with Meditations by Marcus Aurelius for a deeply personal and reflective perspective. Then dive into Epictetus's Enchiridion for concise, actionable advice. Finally, read Seneca's Letters from a Stoic for a broader exploration of Stoic principles applied to everyday life. Each of these works offers unique insights, but together they provide a comprehensive guide to living with purpose and resilience. Beyond reading, take time to reflect on how these Stoic figures handled their own regrets and challenges. Imagine how they might advise you in your current situation. What would Marcus Aurelius say about your regrets? How might Epictetus encourage you to reframe your perspective? By engaging with their wisdom in this way, you not only gain practical tools but also develop a deeper connection to Stoic philosophy. Studying role models also reminds us that even the greatest minds faced setbacks and regrets. Marcus Aurelius grappled with the burdens of leadership, Epictetus endured the hardships of slavery, and Seneca faced exile and political turmoil. Yet they all found ways to rise above their circumstances and live virtuously. Their stories remind us that regret is a universal experience, but it doesn't have to hold us back. Instead, it can be a catalyst for growth and self-improvement. As we move forward, let's carry the lessons of these Stoic role models with us. Their wisdom not only helps us process regret, but also inspires us to live with greater intention and courage. And with that, we're ready to explore the 21st practice, cultivating humility. This next step will show us how embracing humility can further free us from the weight of regret and guide us toward a more fulfilling life. Now, let's turn our attention to the 21st Stoic practice, cultivating humility. Humility, in the Stoic sense, is not about diminishing oneself, but about embracing a clear and honest understanding of our strengths and limitations. It's about recognizing that we are part of something larger than ourselves and that our individual actions, while important, are just one piece of a much bigger picture. This perspective can be incredibly freeing when it comes to overcoming regret. By acknowledging our imperfections and accepting that we cannot control everything, we release the burden of unrealistic expectations and self-criticism. One of the key ways humility helps reduce regret is by grounding us in reality. When we hold ourselves to impossibly high standards or believe we should have all the answers, we set ourselves up for disappointment. Regret often stems from this gap between our expectations and reality. Humility bridges that gap by reminding us that it's okay to make mistakes, to not know everything, and to need help. It allows us to see our past actions with compassion rather than judgment, understanding that we did the best we could with the knowledge and resources we had at the time. So, how can we practice humility in a Stoic way? One powerful exercise is to reflect on the vastness of the universe and our place within it. Take a moment to consider the countless lives, events, and forces that have shaped the world as it is today. In the grand scheme of things, our individual struggles and regrets are small. This doesn't mean they don't matter, but it puts them into perspective. By recognizing our smallness, we can let go of the ego-driven need to control everything and instead focus on what we can contribute. Another exercise is to actively seek feedback from others. Humility thrives when we open ourselves to different perspectives and acknowledge that we don't have all the answers. Ask a trusted friend, family member, or mentor for their honest thoughts on a situation where you feel regret. Listen without defensiveness and consider how their insights might help you grow. This practice not only fosters humility, but also strengthens relationships and builds trust. A third Stoic-inspired practice is to regularly remind yourself of your limitations. Write down a list of areas where you struggle or feel uncertain. Then reflect on how these limitations have shaped your journey and what they've taught you. For example, if you regret a decision made in haste, acknowledge that patience is an area where you're still growing. This kind of honest self-assessment helps you approach life with a sense of curiosity and openness rather than frustration or shame. Finally, practice gratitude for the lessons that come from failure and regret. Humility allows us to see these experiences not as personal flaws but as opportunities for growth. Each time you feel regret, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? By framing regret as a teacher rather than a tormentor, you shift your mindset from one of self-blame to one of self-improvement. Cultivating humility doesn't mean ignoring your strengths or downplaying your achievements. It means balancing self-confidence with self-awareness, recognizing that you are both capable and fallible. This balanced perspective not only reduces regret, but also fosters a deeper sense of peace and resilience. As we move forward, let's carry this practice of humility with us, using it to navigate life's challenges with grace and wisdom. And with that, we're ready to explore the 22nd practice, focusing on the big picture, which will help us further minimize the weight of individual regrets by zooming out to see life's broader context. Now, let's shift our focus to the 22nd Stoic practice, focusing on the big picture. This practice invites us to step back and view our lives from a wider perspective, helping us see that many of the regrets we carry are smaller than they feel in the moment. By zooming out, we can reduce the emotional weight of individual regrets and gain a clearer understanding of what truly matters. One way to apply this Stoic principle is to reflect on the passage of time. Think about how your current worries or regrets might look 5, 10, or even 20 years from now. Often, the things that seem overwhelming today will feel insignificant in the grand scheme of your life. For example, if you regret a missed opportunity at work, consider how that moment fits into the larger arc of your career. Chances are, it's just one chapter in a much longer story, and there will be many more opportunities to grow and succeed. Another way to focus on the big picture is to consider the interconnectedness of life. Stoics believe that everything in the universe is part of a larger whole, and our individual experiences are just small threads in a vast tapestry. When you feel weighed down by regret, remind yourself that your actions, while important, are just one piece of a much bigger puzzle. This perspective can help you let go of the need to control every outcome and instead focus on contributing positively to the world around you. A practical exercise to cultivate this mindset is to spend time in nature. Whether it's a walk in the park, a hike in the mountains, or simply gazing at the stars, immersing yourself in the natural world can remind you of life's vastness and beauty. As you take in the sights and sounds, reflect on how your regrets fit into the larger rhythm of existence. This can help you see them as fleeting moments rather than defining events. You can also practice focusing on the big picture by journaling about your long-term goals and values. Write down what truly matters to you, your relationships, your passions, your purpose, and compare them to the regrets you're holding onto. Often, you'll find that the things you regret don't align with your deepest priorities. This exercise can help you realign your focus and let go of regrets that no longer serve you. Finally, consider the Stoic concept of amor fati, or loving your fate. This idea encourages us to embrace everything that happens in life, both good and bad, as part of a larger, meaningful journey. When you feel regret, try to reframe it as an essential part of your growth. Ask yourself, how has this experience shaped me? What has it taught me about myself and the world? By viewing regret through this lens, you can transform it into a source of wisdom rather than a source of pain. Focusing on the big picture doesn't mean ignoring your feelings or dismissing your regrets. It means seeing them in their proper context as small pieces of a much larger mosaic. This practice can help you approach life with greater clarity, resilience, and peace. And with that, we're ready to move on to the 23rd practice, practicing forgiveness, which will help us release the burden of grudges and self-blame to achieve inner peace. Now, let's turn our attention to the 23rd Stoic practice, practicing forgiveness. This practice is rooted in the Stoic belief that holding onto grudges or self-blame only deepens regret and keeps us trapped in the past. Forgiveness, whether directed toward others or ourselves, is a powerful tool for releasing emotional burdens and achieving inner peace. It's not about excusing harmful behavior, but about freeing ourselves from the weight of resentment and regret. One way to begin practicing forgiveness is to reflect on the nature of human imperfection. Stoics remind us that everyone, including ourselves, is fallible. Mistakes are an inevitable part of life, and holding on to anger or blame only prolongs suffering. When you find yourself struggling to forgive, ask yourself, what would I want if I were in their position? This shift in perspective can help you approach the situation with empathy and understanding. Another technique is to focus on the present moment. Often, our inability to forgive stems from replaying past events in our minds, which only reinforces negative emotions. Instead, bring your attention to the here and now. Remind yourself that the past is unchangeable, and the only power you have is to choose how you respond in the present. This mindset can help you let go of the need to dwell on what's already happened. A practical exercise for cultivating forgiveness is to write a letter, either to yourself or to someone else, expressing your feelings without judgment. You don't have to send it. The act of writing can be a cathartic way to process emotions and release them. In the letter, acknowledge the hurt, but also focus on the lessons learned and the potential for growth. This practice can help you reframe the experience as a stepping stone rather than a stumbling block. Stoics also encourage us to practice self-compassion when dealing with regret. It's easy to be harsh on ourselves for past mistakes, but this only amplifies feelings of guilt and shame. Instead, treat yourself with the same kindness you would offer a close friend. Remind yourself that you did the best you could with the knowledge and resources you had at the time. This gentle approach can help you forgive yourself and move forward with greater clarity and confidence. Finally, consider the Stoic concept of amor fati, or loving your fate, as it applies to forgiveness. This idea invites us to accept everything that has happened, even the painful moments, as part of our unique journey. When you feel regret or resentment, ask yourself, how has this experience contributed to my growth? What has it taught me about resilience, empathy, or self-awareness? By viewing forgiveness as an act of self-liberation, you can transform regret into a source of strength and wisdom. Practicing forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting or condoning harmful actions. It means choosing to release the emotional weight of the past so you can live more fully in the present. This Stoic practice can help you cultivate inner peace, rebuild relationships, and approach life with a lighter heart. And with that, we're ready to explore the 24th practice, cultivating inner freedom, which will guide us toward mastering our minds and finding true resilience. Now, let's shift our focus to the 24th Stoic practice, cultivating inner freedom. This practice is all about understanding that true freedom doesn't come from controlling external circumstances, but from mastering your own mind. Stoics believe that while we can't always control what happens to us, we can always control how we respond. This shift in perspective is the key to unlocking inner peace and resilience, even in the face of regret. One of the most powerful ways to cultivate inner freedom is through the practice of self-awareness. Start by observing your thoughts and emotions without judgment. When you feel regret or frustration, pause and ask yourself, what is within my control here? Often, we waste energy trying to change things we can't influence, which only deepens our sense of helplessness. By focusing on what you can control, your thoughts, actions, and attitudes, you reclaim your power and reduce the grip of regret. Another effective technique is to practice detachment from outcomes. Stoics remind us that external results, whether success or failure, are ultimately indifferent to our inner peace. What truly matters is how we approach life with virtue and intention. For example, if you regret a missed opportunity, instead of dwelling on the outcome, reflect on whether you acted with integrity and wisdom in that moment. This mindset helps you let go of external validation and find freedom in your own values. A practical exercise for developing inner freedom is to engage in daily reflection. At the end of each day, take a few minutes to review your actions and decisions. Ask yourself, did I act in alignment with my principles? Where did I let external pressures dictate my choices? This practice not only builds self-awareness but also strengthens your ability to stay true to yourself, even when faced with challenges. Stoics also emphasize the importance of embracing discomfort as a path to freedom. By voluntarily stepping into situations that challenge you, whether it's a difficult conversation, a new responsibility, or even a cold shower, you train your mind to remain calm and focused, regardless of external conditions. This builds mental resilience and reduces the fear of regret as you learn to trust in your ability to handle whatever comes your way. Finally, consider the Stoic concept of amor fati, or loving your fate, as it applies to inner freedom. This idea encourages us to accept and even embrace every experience, good or bad, as an essential part of our growth. When you feel regret, instead of resisting it, ask yourself, what can this teach me? How can I use this experience to become stronger and wiser? By viewing life's challenges as opportunities for growth, you cultivate a sense of inner freedom that no external circumstance can take away. Cultivating inner freedom is about shifting your focus from what's happening around you to what's happening within you. It's a practice that empowers you to live with intention, resilience, and peace, no matter what life throws your way. And with that, we're ready to explore the 25th and final practice, living in alignment with nature, which will help us bring all these Stoic principles together for a regret-free life. Now, let's turn our attention to the 25th and final Stoic practice, living in alignment with nature. This principle is at the heart of Stoic philosophy and serves as a powerful framework for overcoming regret. At its core, living in alignment with nature means accepting the natural flow of life, its highs and lows, its joys and challenges. The Stoics believed that by embracing this flow rather than resisting it, we can find peace and purpose even in the face of regret. To live in harmony with nature, we must first recognize that life is inherently unpredictable. Things don't always go as planned, and that's okay. Regret often arises when we cling to expectations or outcomes that are beyond our control. But when we align ourselves with the natural order of things, we learn to see every experience, whether positive or negative, as an opportunity for growth. For example, if you regret a decision that led to an unexpected outcome, instead of dwelling on what went wrong, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How does this experience fit into the larger tapestry of my life? One practical way to live in alignment with nature is to practice acceptance. This doesn't mean passively resigning yourself to circumstances, but rather acknowledging reality as it is. When you accept what has happened, you free yourself from the emotional weight of regret and open the door to constructive action. Think of it like a tree bending in the wind rather than breaking. By adapting to life's changes, you become more resilient and less burdened by what you cannot change. Another key aspect of this practice is aligning your actions with your core values. The Stoics believed that living virtuously with wisdom, courage, justice, and self-discipline is the ultimate expression of living in harmony with nature. When you make decisions based on these principles rather than external pressures or fleeting desires, you reduce the likelihood of future regret. For instance, if you're faced with a difficult choice, ask yourself, what would a wise and virtuous person do in this situation? This approach helps you stay true to yourself and your values even in challenging moments. Living in alignment with nature also means embracing the interconnectedness of all things. The Stoics saw themselves as part of a larger whole, and this perspective can help us let go of regret by reminding us that our individual experiences are just one piece of a much bigger picture. When you feel regret, try zooming out and considering how this moment fits into the broader context of your life and the world around you. This shift in perspective can help you see that even your mistakes or setbacks have a role to play in your personal growth and the greater good. Finally, this practice encourages us to find beauty and meaning in the present moment. Regret often pulls us into the past, but living in alignment with nature brings us back to the here and now. Take time to appreciate the simple, natural rhythms of life, the changing seasons, the warmth of the sun, the sound of rain. These small moments of connection can ground you in the present and remind you that life, in all its imperfection, is still worth embracing. By living in alignment with nature, we learn to accept life as it is, not as we wish it to be. This mindset helps us release regret, find meaning in every experience, and move forward with clarity and purpose. And with that, we've explored all 25 Stoic practices for overcoming regret. Together, they offer a roadmap for living a more fulfilling, resilient, and regret-free life. Now that we've explored the 25 core Stoic practices for overcoming regret, let's take a moment to look ahead. One of the most powerful ways to minimize future regret is to make decisions today that align with your deepest values and long-term vision. This bonus practice is all about creating a regret-free future by applying Stoic principles to your choices and actions. Start by getting clear on your core values. What truly matters to you? Is it integrity, compassion, growth, or something else entirely? The Stoics believed that living in alignment with your values is the key to a fulfilling life. When you make decisions rooted in these principles, you're less likely to look back with regret because you'll know you acted with intention and purpose. For example, if honesty is one of your core values, choosing to speak truthfully, even when it's difficult, will leave you with no regrets, no matter the outcome. Another essential tool for creating a regret-free future is practicing foresight. The Stoics called this premeditatio malorum, or the premeditation of challenges. This doesn't mean dwelling on worst-case scenarios out of fear, but rather preparing yourself mentally for the uncertainties of life. By envisioning potential obstacles and planning how you'll respond, you can approach decisions with greater clarity and confidence. For instance, before making a big career move, ask yourself, what challenges might I face and how will I handle them? This kind of preparation helps you stay grounded and resilient, even when things don't go as planned. It's also important to consider the long-term impact of your choices. Regret often stems from short-term thinking, choosing immediate gratification over lasting fulfillment. The Stoics encouraged us to take a step back and ask, will this decision bring me closer to the person I want to become? Whether it's a financial decision, a relationship choice, or a career opportunity, thinking about the long-term consequences can help you avoid regrets down the road. Another way to build a regret-free future is to embrace flexibility. Life rarely goes exactly as planned, and the Stoics understood that adaptability is a virtue. When you're open to change and willing to adjust your course, you're less likely to feel stuck or regretful when circumstances shift. Think of it like sailing. You can't control the wind, but you can adjust your sails to reach your destination. By staying flexible, you can navigate life's twists and turns with grace and resilience. Finally, remember to celebrate progress, not just perfection. The pursuit of a regret-free future isn't about avoiding mistakes altogether. It's about learning and growing from them. When you focus on progress rather than perfection, you create a mindset that's forgiving and forward-looking. Each step you take toward living in alignment with your values and practicing foresight is a step toward a future filled with purpose and peace. By applying these Stoic-inspired strategies, you can make decisions today that set you up for a future with fewer regrets. It's about taking control of what you can, aligning your actions with your values, and embracing the journey with clarity and courage. And as you move forward, remember that every choice is an opportunity to shape the life you truly want to live. Now, let's turn our attention to another powerful way to minimize regret and foster growth: building a supportive community. The Stoics understood that we are not meant to navigate life's challenges alone. Surrounding yourself with like-minded individuals who share your values and support your journey can make a profound difference in how you handle setbacks and pursue your goals. A strong community provides encouragement, accountability, and perspective, helping you stay grounded and resilient even in difficult times. So how can you find or create such a community? Start by seeking out people who inspire you. Look for individuals who embody the qualities you admire, whether it's wisdom, kindness, or perseverance. These could be friends, colleagues, or even mentors who challenge you to grow and hold you to a higher standard. The Stoics often emphasize the importance of learning from others, and being around people who uplift and motivate you can help you stay aligned with your values and aspirations. Another way to build a supportive community is to join groups or organizations that align with your interests and goals. This could be a local book club, a professional network, or an online forum dedicated to Stoicism or personal development. These spaces offer opportunities to connect with others who share your passions and can provide valuable insights and encouragement. Remember, the goal isn't just to find people who agree with you, but to engage with those who challenge you to think differently and grow. If you can't find a community that fits your needs, consider creating one. Start small by gathering a few friends or acquaintances who are interested in similar topics. Host regular discussions or activities centered around Stoic principles, personal growth, or other shared interests. Over time, this group can grow into a meaningful support system where everyone benefits from mutual encouragement and shared wisdom. The act of creating a community itself can be a powerful exercise in leadership and connection. It's also important to nurture the relationships within your community. Show up for others, offer support when they need it, and celebrate their successes. The Stoics believed in the interconnectedness of humanity, and by contributing to the well-being of others, you strengthen the bonds that make your community resilient and fulfilling. Remember, a supportive community is a two-way street. It's not just about what you receive, but also what you give. Finally, don't underestimate the value of diversity within your community. While it's helpful to connect with like-minded individuals, surrounding yourself with people who have different perspectives and experiences can broaden your understanding and help you approach challenges in new ways. The Stoics valued wisdom from all sources, and a diverse community can offer fresh insights and solutions you might not have considered on your own. By building and nurturing a supportive community, you create a network of encouragement and resilience that can help you navigate life's uncertainties with greater confidence and clarity. Whether you're seeking guidance, celebrating progress, or facing setbacks, having a group of people who understand and support you can make all the difference. And as you grow together, you'll find that the journey becomes not only easier but also more meaningful. Now, let's shift our focus to a practice that can transform how you view your progress and achievements, celebrating small wins. In the pursuit of personal growth, it's easy to overlook the small steps forward, especially when we're fixated on big goals or past mistakes. But the Stoics remind us that progress, no matter how minor it may seem, is worth recognizing. By taking the time to acknowledge and celebrate these small victories, you build momentum, boost your confidence, and create a positive mindset that helps you move forward with less regret. Think about it this way: every journey is made up of countless small steps. When you pause to appreciate the effort you've put in, even for seemingly insignificant tasks, you reinforce the value of your actions. This practice isn't about inflating your ego or ignoring areas where you can improve. Instead, it's about cultivating gratitude for your efforts and recognizing that growth is a gradual process. The Stoics believed in the importance of self-awareness, and celebrating small wins is a way to stay connected to your progress, no matter how slow or steady it may be. So, how can you start incorporating this practice into your life? Begin by setting aside a few moments each day to reflect on what you've accomplished. It could be something as simple as completing a task you've been putting off, having a meaningful conversation, or even just showing up for yourself on a tough day. Write these wins down in a journal or share them with a trusted friend. The act of acknowledging them helps solidify their importance and reminds you that every step forward counts. Another way to celebrate small wins is to reward yourself in meaningful ways. This doesn't have to be extravagant. It could be as simple as taking a moment to enjoy a favorite activity, treating yourself to something small, or simply giving yourself permission to rest and recharge. The key is to create a sense of accomplishment and joy around your efforts, which can motivate you to keep going even when the path feels challenging. It's also important to reframe how you view setbacks. When you celebrate small wins, you're less likely to dwell on perceived failures because you're focused on the progress you're making. The Stoics taught that setbacks are opportunities for learning, and by celebrating your efforts, you shift your mindset from one of regret to one of resilience. You begin to see that every step, no matter how small, is a part of your journey toward becoming the best version of yourself. Finally, remember that celebrating small wins isn't just about you, it's also about inspiring those around you. When you share your progress with others, you create a ripple effect of positivity and encouragement. Your willingness to celebrate the little things can motivate others to do the same, fostering a culture of growth and support within your community. The Stoics believed in the interconnectedness of humanity, and by celebrating your wins, you contribute to a collective sense of progress and hope. By making it a habit to celebrate small wins, you cultivate a mindset of gratitude, resilience, and forward momentum. You remind yourself that progress is possible even in the face of challenges, and that every step forward is worth acknowledging. So, take a moment today to recognize your efforts, no matter how small they may seem. You'll find that this simple practice can have a profound impact on how you view yourself, your journey, and your ability to overcome regret. As we come to the end of our exploration, let's take a moment to reflect on the 25 Stoic practices we've discussed for overcoming regret. Each of these practices, from focusing on what you can control to celebrating small wins, offers a unique way to shift your mindset, build resilience, and live a more fulfilling life. Together, they form a powerful toolkit for navigating life's challenges with grace and wisdom. The beauty of Stoicism lies in its practicality. It's not just a philosophy to ponder, but a way of life to actively practice. By embracing these principles, you can transform regret from a source of pain into an opportunity for growth, learning, and self-improvement. Remember, the journey of applying these practices is not about perfection. It's about progress. You don't have to master all 25 at once. Start with one or two that resonate with you and let them guide your actions and decisions. Over time, you'll find that these practices become second nature, helping you approach life with greater clarity, calm, and purpose. The Stoics believed that true freedom comes from mastering your mind, and these practices are your pathway to that inner freedom. Now it's your turn to take the next step. Choose one practice from this list and commit to integrating it into your daily life. Whether it's reflecting on the impermanence of life, practicing gratitude, or learning from your mistakes, each small effort adds up to meaningful change. And as you begin this journey, I'd love to hear about your experiences. Share your thoughts, challenges, and successes in the comments below. Your story could inspire someone else to take their first step toward a regret-free life. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more content on Stoicism and personal growth. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Together, let's build a community of resilience, wisdom, and support. Thank you for joining me on this journey, and remember, every step forward, no matter how small, is a step toward a life of greater peace and fulfillment. Until next time, take care and keep practicing Stoicism.